What's up guys, Trilogy here. You've seen the thumbnail. We are going to be doing another ranking of Drake's album with the latest edition of Her Loss, which is a joint collaboration between 21 and Drake, 21 Savage, if you don't know who 21 is for whatever reason. But yeah, we have 14 Drake projects on here, including mixtapes, playlist, albums. So we have Nothing Was the Same. We're gonna have If You're Reading This Is Too Late. It's gonna have More Life. It's gonna have What a Time to Be Alive. So yeah, we're gonna be going through all 14 Drake collaborations and we're gonna be ranking them. Of course, this is my personal opinion. If you have different opinions, drop them down in the comments and we can talk about it. Drake is probably my second, if not first favorite rapper. So anything I say in this video, it's just honest feedback. Nobody is perfect as an artist, except for my boy Lil Wayne. Anyway, starting at number 14, I'm gonna have to say, honestly, Nevermind. This is gonna be his second release, second most recent release. This is gonna be dropped in 2022. It dropped with 14 songs and you know, it had like a Euro Afro-centric beat on it. And a lot of people did not like this album. Honestly, I didn't like this album either, and I hate to say it because I like to have a unique opinion. I hate to just say what everyone else is saying, but unfortunately, I do think this is the worst Drake album out of the 14 songs on there. And basically, I guess I should explain how I'm ranking them. I want to remain unbiased, so what I do is I take the total number of songs on that album and divide it by the total number of songs that I actually like. And of course, if you remember high school math, that gives us an average. So say, for example, honestly, Nevermind has 14 tracks. I liked 5 out of those tracks. If we take 5 divided by 14, that gives us a score, which is going to be 3571, which is an F rating for the album. So honestly, Nevermind is honestly not a great album in my opinion, but it's a Drake album, so you know, it probably still sold millions and billions and all of that stuff. But honestly, Nevermind is going to be our 14th entry. Up next is going to be Drake's latest album. I was really hoping this was going to be good because 21 and Drake have never missed on a song. Everyone always talks about Jimmy Cooks, and then they also talk about the other Drake song that him and 21 have, which I actually forgot the name, but no one ever talks about Sneakin', which was from a More Life era. It was like a single for More Life, but it never ended up on the More Life album. Sneakin' is an amazing track. That's crazy good. But unfortunately, this album, it just didn't really hit for me. Like, I've only listened to it once, to be fair, and a lot of Drake albums do grow on me. Music in general grows on us because we change as people, we have different tastes, things age. You can be in a different mood when you hear a song, you're like, yo, this song is actually fire? Yeah. So, for example, like when I listened to Certified Lover Boy, I wasn't a big fan of Get Along Better, and then I heard it one day and I was like, Get Along Better? Oh, this is ain't about revenge. Yeah, that thing is fire, boy. And when I listened to the album the first time, I didn't mess with that song. So maybe over time, like the next album list, Her Loss might be higher up on the list. But for now, it's gonna be at 13, and it had 16 songs on it, and I only liked 7 out of it, which gives us a rating of 43.95, which is another F album. So it's not looking good for recent Drake releases. Those are his last 2 albums, and they're at the bottom. So anyways, up next, unfortunately, we're continuing the trend, and I promise you, I'm not a new era Drake hater. It's just how it's coming out. Next up is gonna be Certified Lover Boy, and Certified Lover Boy is better than the last 2. I'd say by a decent amount, although statistically it's not that much of a difference. We're jumping up from 43.95 up to 52.38, so a little more than half of this album was good. I liked 11 out of the 21 songs on here. And when I first heard this album, I did not like it even this much. I thought it was worse than this when I first listened to it. But like I said, some of the songs aged on me, but that's going to put us on Certified Lover Boy on number 12. Up next, we're going to have a number 11, which is going to be a mixtape. We're going to go all the way back to Drake, all the way back to old Drake, and we're going to have So Far Gone. So Far Gone is like Drake's first big mixtape. He had Room for Improvement and then Comeback Season, but they aren't going to be on this list just because I've listened to them, but they don't really have a whole lot of standout tracks, and they would just be at the bottom anyways, in my opinion, probably. So I didn't put them on here, but So Far Gone, that does deserve some respect, even if it does end up at the number 11 spot. It had 18 tracks on it, and out of those 18 tracks, I'd liked 11 out of them, and that gives it a rating of 61.11. So this is our first D tier kind of album. We're in the Ds now. Up next, we're gonna have More Life, which if you had asked me to name my favorite albums, More Life would probably be high up on the list. Like, it seems like a top 5 album. But statistically, I mean, like I said, I try to remain unbiased. Statistically, I only liked 14 out of the 22 songs on this album. And 14 is actually a lot. Like, if you look at the albums, even though they have a lot of songs, usually I don't like as many as 14. But because there's like 8 other songs that aren't good on this album, that fluff really brings the rating down on this album. And that's why we have a 63 on this album. So I think that fluff really brings it down. Like, for example, our number 9 is Dark Lane Demo Tapes, which if you had asked me at a glance, like which one was better, I would say More Life was better. But statistically, Dark Lane Demo Tapes has 9 songs that I like out of 14. So instead of having 8 songs that I don't like, this one only has 5 songs that I don't like. And statistically, that gives it a higher rating. So it comes out to 64.28, even though it is just barely better. But I like this system because it really just looks at the hard code facts, despite other things like personal opinion. Even though this is my personal opinion, but you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying. Up next on our number 8, I'm trying to speed through these because it's literally 14 projects and I don't want to keep you guys here all day. We're already at 6 minutes. Up next is going to be Views. Views from the 6. There was so much hype around this album when it first came out, and it is going to be 8. So that rating on this one is 70. It's a flat 70. I liked 14 out of the 20 songs. So this is going to be our first C tier. Between everything up from here is probably going to be considered a good Drake album. Everything below is probably okay or maybe even bad if you would go that far. But 8 and up, you know, this is basically the halfway point. Everything above this is going to be a good album. After this, we have Care Package, which was basically just a whole bunch of Drake singles that were never released, put on a compilation album, and then we got Care Package. I was so happy for The Motion. The Motion was really good. The Motion was really good. We had Days in the East, all of those other songs that I used to have to pirate to listen to. They were finally official. Free Spirit, like these tracks go crazy, and we finally got them on Care Package, so it was pretty cool. Like 2014 me would have loved to be able to listen to The Motion whenever I wanted to, instead of having to pull out my old Android phone to listen to just that one track. So that's our number 7. Up next, number 6 is going to be Thank Me Later. Thank Me Later. This album used to have me in a chokehold. Thank Me Now, that song on there. You could thank me now. Thank Me Later. Yeah, I know what I said. It's just hilarious. This one has a rating. I don't know if I said Care Package. Care Package has a 70.58. Thank Me Later has a 71.42. So it's just barely. But Thank Me Later is really good. Jumping up from here, we're now in our top 5, and the top 5 are just really good albums. These are pristine albums, and statistically, it jumps from 71.42, so low C. Our number 5 spot is 88 even, so it jumps up by 17%. That's how much better these albums are, in my opinion. But number 5 is Scorpion, which if you had asked me, I wouldn't have told you that Scorpion was in my top 5, but statistically, I like Scorpion. There's 25 songs on here. This is, to the date, Drake's longest album, 25 songs on here. And out of those 25, I like 22 of those. That's a lot of songs. If we were going by the raw number of songs that I like on the album, this would be the best Drake album, because none of the other albums they're not as long, so it's hard to compete with it, but none of the other albums have 22 songs that I like. So you could say, in a way, this is the best Drake album, but I wouldn't say that. That's why it's in number 5. And that's why I have a different system, because that doesn't even make sense to me that would be a number 1, even though it is a good album. Number 4, for the longest time when you asked me, I would have said this was my favorite Drake album. Number 4 is going to be If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And I still remember the day this album came out. Dark Sky Paradise by Big Sean also came out around the same time, and people were asking me, like, in my environmental science class, hey, which one do you like? Do you like Dark Sky Paradise, or do you like If You're Reading This, It's Too Late? And I said Dark Sky Paradise because that Big Sean album, that's Big Sean's best album. He still hasn't made an album that good. And to this day, I still don't know which one I like better. I think I would still probably say Dark Sky Paradise, but If You're Reading This, It's Too Late was my favorite Drake album for a long time. But statistically, it has 17 songs. I like 15 out of those 17 songs. That gives it a rating of 88.23, so it just barely beats out Scorpion at number 5, but it does. Up next, number 3, This was also my favorite Drake album for a long time, and Drake just doesn't make music like this anymore. Number 3 is going to be Take Care. I know, you're clicking off now. Why isn't Take Care number 1? I get it, but I just don't like 2 of the songs on there. Lord Knows, I don't like Lord Knows, and I think the other one is The Ride. And those songs, because of those are on there, it just can't get the high grade that it's supposed to have. 17 out of 19 is so close to an A, but it's an 89.47, and we don't round up. So Take Care is stuck in the B tier. Of course, if I didn't say this, any of these albums that have deluxe editions or extended editions, those are the ones that we're using, and this is the Take Care deluxe version that we're using. Number 2, and this one's just crazy, but when you have a short album, it's easier to have bangers. Number 2 is What a Time to Be Alive. 10 tracks, 9 bangers, 1 miss. And that's gonna be a 90. So 90, this is our first A tier album. What a Time to Be Alive. When I was in high school and this album was playing everywhere. Jumpman, Big Range, Scholarships, and I did not like this album. The only song I really liked was Plastic Bag and Scholarships, but over time it grew up on me, and you see it, it's number 2, which if you've been paying attention, you already know what number 1 is going to be. Number 1 is going to be Nothing Was the Same. This is my highest rated Drake album. 15 songs, 14 good songs, 93.33. That is the highest rating out of any of these Drake albums. So, I mean, thank you for sticking to the end. I'm not gonna even say too much about it because every song on this album is almost fire. Almost every song on this album is fire. It's the best Drake album, hands down. And it is kind of close. The top 5 are kind of close, but everything below that, like number 6 and under, they're not even in the conversation of what's the best Drake album. Me personally, I really want to still say Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, and then if you're reading this, It Was Too Late. That was the best era of Drake music. But overall, what did you guys think of the new album? What is your top 5 Drake albums? How do you think the 21 features sounded? And with that said, if you want to see more content like this, definitely recommend you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball playing, like Bird or Magic or something. But if I leave, the fans still gonna love me, man?